everybody, welcome in. This is something totally different. I tell you, when you come to the old wild west, you just never know. Is it going to be a NASCAR? Is it going to be a Cerro Gordo adventure? Is it going to be a truck rebuild? Is it going to be a load of cattle? Another load of cattle? Calving cows? What's it going to be? This is Art Week in Great Falls, Montana. The reason we're going over this time is to celebrate the birth of Charles Marion Russell. Let me give you just a quick background, and then I want to show you some of this because we're actually driving through the area where Charlie Russell called home as we speak. Charlie Russell grew up in Missouri. He dreams of the West. He talks to fur traders and trappers that have come down the river from the West, always quizzing them, always seeking stories, learning, just filled with awe as to what is this Wild West. Very fitting that we're doing this on the Wild West channel. About the age of 16, he gets a job on a sheep ranch in Montana, and that's his foot in the door. He moves away from the sheep ranch and gets a job with a former hunter trapper by the name of Hoover, who is now settled down and is ranching in the Judith Basin. This is the neat thing to remember now. If you will look at Charlie Russell's artwork, you will see things like those skies that you just saw. He was a working cowboy, and you see this in his artwork because if you look into the fine little details of his artwork, and he always has these just random neat little intricacies woven in. Things, whether it's a dog, running under the belly of a horse and causing a horse to blow up. It's things that he experienced and saw as he worked as a cowboy, and it's all over his artwork. All right, let me share you this last little story. So in the winter of 1886 and 1887, it was a disastrous, cold, nasty time. And Charlie Russell was doing watercolors during that winter, trying to portray some of the images and things from that winter. The ranch that he was working on was sent a message or a letter from the owner of the ranch, who lived in another part of Montana, asking, how did the cattle fare? What was sent back to the owner by the foreman was a postcard-sized watercolor that Charlie Russell had painted that winter, which portrayed a steer standing out, being watched by wolves, kind of waiting for that steer to weaken up enough for those wolves to come in. The owner, of course, got the message and ended up displaying that postcard over in Helena, Montana. Right. You guys have arrived. I'm here. We're at the show. This place right there, Karen Co. She's great. I'm going to show you something here in just a second. But man, this is way more than I thought. I've been to events. I've been to things, winter fairs, trade shows and whatnot, and there's stuff set up. There's booths and things to go through. But you kind of blow through them usually if you move through. You kind of get through them in not a whole lot of time. I've come in here and I've been here now for like almost 3 hours. In fact, I think I'm supposed to be at another place right now, but I'm not going because I'm here and I'm happy and I just keep seeing more things that I like. I got to show you this one. So as I'm wandering, Karen here, she's from up in Canada. She's from Lethbridge, but she had one piece in the corner that I got to show you guys. It's not these. You like that stuff? Look at that one. Those aren't the ones. This is the one. Oh, look at that old boy right there. Look at that. I think if I had a little piece hanging out, maybe a little piece of salad hanging there, that's my choice. The bright lights. She's good. You should go check her out. Karen Co, Lethbridge, Alberta. Hey, I want to give you an idea of the kind of the magnitude of this. Clear across, and to give you an idea of the size of this room, this is they have indoor rodeos here, they have indoor hockey games, they have a big basketball court. It's a huge room. You can bring semis and combines and tractors in here and do different shows, but this is it. I'm gonna go back down and visit with a few more of these artists. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. We're from the West. We raise cattle. You guys know what we do. You follow along. It just feels good to see. I guess it feels good to see your lifestyle and the world that I've grown up in interpreted by all these, different artists. It feels good to be here. At another booth here. This is cool. This is kind of both ends of the art spectrum. See, a lot of you, when you think of artists, you think of pretty seasoned. I'm not going to say old. I'm just going to say seasoned. Around here, you don't want to call anybody old. That would be fighting words. So Alyssa and Linda, and your guys' relationship is
grandma and granddaughter.
Pretty cool, huh, y'all? Your art medium would be
scratchboard.
Okay, scratchboard. For you, Alyssa, was it like you watched grandma, saw grandma's work?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wanted to.
Oh, I kind of like that.
How old are you now?
I am 21.
21.
Yes.
Oh man, okay.
My first one was I was 16.
Wait a minute. So you went from 5 years since you started. You went from 0 to this kind of work that you guys are seeing here in this few short years.
Yes.
That's crazy. All due to the wise tutelage of grandma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets to sit beside me in the studio, and
Okay.
that's how we create together. And
Wow.
so she was in the NICU for 4 months, and I held her. She was this big.
Just fit right in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, and her whole arm and hand was just at the end of my finger.
That was wild.
So she's come a long way.
So first time here?
Should be my third year. 19.
So you were 19, and did you show? You showed at 19.
Yes.
Was that scary?
Yes.
Were you nervous to present in front of your peers?
She was shy. She would not speak.
You just
So
kind of.
I would make her speak about her art.
Good. Well, you've come a long way. You've done a great job here, you guys. You've done a. It's really neat that you've passed that on so directly.
Yeah, she's a good teacher.
Okay, so I'm floating back around. You didn't think I was coming back, huh?
No, I did.
She didn't think. She's like, nah, he's never coming back. You guys, I've come across something here something I've never seen, so I'm going to share it with you. So your name?
Riley.
Riley, that's right. Sorry. I met a
No,
few
it's
folks,
okay.
and I'm so bad with
Oh,
names naturally. Horrible.
I understand.
So this new medium is called,
Pyrography.
translates directly as the playing of fire.
Writing with fire.
Writing with fire is really what it means.
Yes.
The wildest thing, it's all burnt. It's so detailed, and it's all burned in. To be able to capture these little Western images and moments in time with a burning pencil. So you're from
Billings.
Billings. You've been doing this medium for
7 years.
7 years.
I'm usually working on all of them at one time. So I usually
Oh, really?
not really, but it seems like it. Like I have unfinished pieces all the time because I just get so many ideas and I have to start on it right away.
Okay. Do you ever get like, will you ever get like art block where you're like, I got to step away from this, work on another piece for a while because
Yeah.
I'm just not sure where to go with this?
Yep. I usually always come back to it.
As a young little guy, like as a child, you always kind of think of all artists as like older, more wise. But I can't believe as I've wandered around how many young people are in art.
Yeah.
Like 30's young, 40's young. And there was a gal and her grandma we just talked to that was 21. She was 21.
Wow.
And anyway, it's good to see that it rolls on. If you had any advice or tips to give to someone that was young in art?
I would say this sounds like cliche, I guess,
Yeah.
but never give up because all of my things have I've been discouraged so many times with contests over and over again. Even now, I've applied for tons of contests just this year, and I still get denied. But things happen, like my Buffalo mural in Billings. I never would have believed it, but that happened. So never give up. Yeah, I think it's 4 stories.
How did you paint a 4-story mural?
With a boom lift.
You just spent like days and days on a boom lift?
It was 8 days.
You did the whole thing in 8 days?
Yeah, the buffalo face was 8 days. I learned how to operate a boom lift for that mural.
Because they just are like, here you go.
Yep.
Do your thing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's kind of becomes immortal. I mean, you drive through towns and see old murals way back in the day and old writing on old brick buildings and stuff. So this thing you kind of made your mark
I hope so.
on the
I hope
town,
it
right?
stays, yeah.
The lesson of perseverance. Look what you achieved. You have a mural in Billings. So,
And it completely changed my life.
well, that's going to do it from the expo center here at the fairgrounds. That's okay. The moon is out. The sun is down. Under the light of the old street lamp here, we're going to go get some rest and see what tomorrow has to bring. I can say that the visitors of Great Falls are not known for their parking prowess. Check it. Home to Vegas a while back, and I think this parking garage is a little skinnier than Vegas. 6 foot, 2-inch clearance. The old white Chevy barely squeezed, barely squeezed. Hey, I've got to show you this real quick. These are the rooms at the O'Hare Inn. This is an older motel that they've been remodeling, because instead of remodeling these rooms into what you would typically see in most hotels across the country with kind of the same style of beds and the same, you know, artwork over, they've kept it true to this original style and feel. Even got a rubber ducky. Yeah. Well, good morning. Guys, it's a little windy out here today. Hopefully that's not bugging you. I just got out of what I think was arguably, I don't know, maybe my favorite thing so far. Partially because I ran into 2 artists that I did not know were going to be in there, that I know, that are personal friends, and had no idea. So that made it kind of cool. I want to share this with you. I'm going to give you just a little advance warning that the orientation of the screen is going to change for YouTube here. You're going to see this in a different mode. So enjoy. Oh, now this was a cool event, you guys. This is one of the few exclusive ticketed events of the weekend. It was kind of a high dollar deal, this one in particular. What it is, it's a quick finish event. They get like 20, 25 artists come in. They bring pieces that are almost done. They set up these pieces. They have about an hour and a half to finish them. They finish them publicly. So these attendees are wandering throughout the venue. They're asking the artists questions, talking about their inspiration, so on and so forth. When this is all done and wrapped up, they immediately have a live auction and sold these pieces for thousands and thousands of dollars. The proceeds from that auction all were donated completely, 100%, to the C.M. Russell Museum to continue its operation. Huge donation from these artists.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to our action.
So I got to tell you what happened, Jackson. So screwed me on my pre.
No, I
Really appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me.
I have a lot of people like take photos of this more than.
I'm between art shows here. I'm going to slip out and show you guys this little treasure. This is I'm going to take you out to a buffalo jump. Do you know what a buffalo jump is? I'm going to explain to you so that once we get out here, you'll know. You know, buffalo were known for stampeding, right? Didn't take much to get the stampede started. Once they started, everybody's just like, all right, we're stampeding. Let's go. And everybody just stampede along. And that's, you know, that's what they do. The Indians realized because of that stampeding tendency, there's a few spots that were conducive to essentially mass butchering of buffalo. So this area over here, a little different deal. There is a cliff that was discovered, and what they realized was, if if we can stampede these buffalo into the right direction, when they just happen to be in a certain area, and this wasn't like they did this multiple times a year. This was like we're doing this so we can get all of our meat put up and put away and be taken care of. And so when the buffalo would reach a certain point out on the prairie that was near this cliff or the buffalo jump, they would go ahead and get the buffalo stampeding towards the cliff, and off they'd go, and they would plummet many feet off the edge. Some would die, some would be, broken legs, wounded. It was probably a pretty nasty scene, to be honest with you. The first ones off the cliff definitely probably would have died just from impact. Livestock are unbelievably tough and resilient, none more so than buffalo. The buffalo began to pile up over the edge. The ones on the bottom would kind of make a cushion, so to speak, for the ones above them. However, still, breaking legs and things. It's kind of hard. Well, nowadays it's hard for people to go, oh, that's so awful. But it's like, this was ingenious. We're gonna kill like 100 buffalo in a whack, and not have to worry about going out and getting gored off the side of a horse. And I'm going to take you to this spot, to this area, and I'm going to show you what this maybe would have been like for a buffalo. It's now known as First People's Buffalo Jump. I'm just driving by the bottom side of it here. We're going to go around over the top side though. I want to show you the top so you can get an eye. After the buffalo were off the edge, the whole tribe would come around and they would start processing. Now, back in those days, of course, no refrigeration, so it was all hands on deck. You had to get these things skinned, you had to get them gutted, you had to get the meat, cut and thin enough that they could cure the meat to preserve it. I wish there's certain things from history that you wish you could just see, just observe, just as a fly on the wall, a fly on the cliffside, to see what did that look like from start to finish. The buffalo going over the edge, tumbling down the cliffs, going out, putting down the remaining buffalo that were wounded and maimed, and then just everyone. I mean, I would assume at a buffalo jump, it was every single person available. I wish I could see that, just the hive of activity. See that right there? Entering a rattlesnake zone, prairie rattlesnakes. No snakes yet. They paraphrased it well there in the little sign where they had mentioned how dangerous this was for the Indians that were moving the herd, especially for what they called a herd runner, but someone that would ride in front of the herd, so to speak, to kind of lead them along. Once they got close to the cliff, the runner would jump down over the edge, off to the side, or at the last second cut really sharp, so close to the ledge that the buffalo couldn't follow and they would go over. What would you do to feed your family? What kind of dangerous things would you do to feed your family? And it's like, when you put it that way, all this, oh, that's so mean and cruel, this poor buffalo. You're like, what would you do to feed your family? So you guys, right up above me is where we parked. Just open prairie. Come down over this edge. Little do they know, with their poor eyesight, looks like open prairie out beyond to a buffalo. However, as you ride to the edge, that's it. Well, there you have it, the man himself, Mr. C.M. Russell. This is his museum. Since this is where he lived, this is where he died, he got a museum. We're gonna go check it out. Let's see what's there. The last time I was in this museum, I believe that I was probably in 4th grade. This is a fun little treasure, this story. So this was from the Bullhead Lodge, and these muslin screens were set up as privacy barriers for the guests of the lodge. And each year, Charlie Russell would replace these and add some artwork to the screens. And then the guests would also sign the screens throughout the year. The really neat thing about Charlie Russell that makes his work just another level up, a little thing to remember, is that he had to use his mind's eye. He had to take what he remembered and translate that into art. See, nowadays we have the benefit of being able to go out and take pictures and use pictures as reference. It's very rare that an artist can use their mind's eye and still capture likenesses of humans and animals in proportion. Show you this one. This is something that only a cowboy could experience, so like a real cowboy. Stray cattle out on the trail you're trying to gather, and some of these mamas are angry. And this is exactly what a cow will do when she's mad to a horse. This next piece of work, I want you to look for something that was commissioned by a wealthy back east money man who loved the West. He commissioned Charlie Russell to paint this next picture entitled The Roundup. This guy actually had some land and cattle in Montana despite being from back east, and he had an EL brand. I want you to see if you can find it. Did you catch it? Only clue I'll give you is just a little left of center. Okay? That's it. You're on your own.
I can show you that. So for this weekend I did Fulham.
This next and last piece that I want to show you here before we got to move on is entitled Free Trapper. And it depicts one of the last free trappers that fur trapped in the West before the I believe it was the American Fur Company and the Hudson Bay Company started sending company men out to do the trapping and basically snuffed out the free trappers. There's an interesting parallel to that story that follows along the American free trucker with company men. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I tell you, I don't know. It's weird. Like, you look at these pictures and things, and I don't know what it did for you guys, but it's interesting because I love it, and it gives me this weird homesick feeling at the same time. And I don't know if that's just because those were pictures, you know, we even had one or two hanging in our house growing up. I don't know if it's that or if it's homesick for this old primitive life that is, gone, never to return. Progress of man. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure which it is, but it leaves you with this weird, like, it's satisfying and very enjoyable, but at the same time, just this slight little empty feeling. All right, this next little show I'm going to take you guys to is called the Wild Bunch. All right, that was short and sweet. Heavier on the sweet side. I think honestly, what I'm finding, and maybe it's in part because these people are here showing their stuff, so they're being extra friendly. But once you talk to someone, you can tell when they are having a conversation with you versus when they're just listening to you. Someone that's listening to you is just kind of nodding and looking over your head all the time and looking to the sides and stuff. That's the person that's listening to you. Someone that's having a conversation with you, lets you speak, responds to the things you say. You let them speak, you respond to it's this back and forth where you're actually listening. Every artist that I've spoken to so far has been having a legitimate conversation with me, and it's really nice. Well, y'all, that's been a lot of art today. Just wanted to get out a little bit, stretch my leg. What I'm looking at right now is a fixture of Great Falls ever since. We're gonna go right down to the falls that were known as Great Falls when Lewis and Clark came up. They came up the Missouri River from Missouri, as you know, everybody knows of their expedition, right? And they got here to these falls, and they had to portage around these falls. They had to pull all their stuff out and roll them around because these falls were too great to overcome. So Lewis and Clark had to go around it, and in later years, it was a very easy spot above the falls to build a hydroelectric dam, which inside there is where the electricity is generated. All that electricity to run all of our electrical things. And be the Missouri River coming out from underneath there. And then the dam is just over the fence here. Here's a little shot. It's a little faded out, but this shows what these falls were like. They weren't massive falls. We're gonna look at them in real life. The real life thing over there still got quite a bit of water coming over them. So they point out that one of the earliest forms of anything to make anything was water power. Water and wheels, that's how they used to grind all the grain back in the day. They'd use the water wheels to turn the mill. It's gonna be peaceful in a strange way. Come along. Check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna put the money where the mouth is. Right here.
We met in.
I told them, I said, you cannot, in fact, I'm gonna beep that out. It's gonna go, boop. They're gonna think you said a swear word. You're gonna think she just said probably the F word, the worst of all. Because I told her you can never say that out loud.
Worst word ever.
Worst ever, totally. So.
Starts with an I.
I'm naturally drawn to these two because they're our neighbors to the north. You guys are great. Yeah, she's from
Consort, Alberta.
Consort. Any of you guys know where that is? And she's much more close, right? Just right up across the
3
border.
hours north, yeah. Lethbridge, Alberta, Windy City.
You guys
we let them stand like this.
Oh, you mean? I get it.
That's how we're recognized. Calgary
Is
Stampede
that Calgary
last
Stampede?
year. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We didn't know each other. She called me up and said, "Hey, heard you're going. Can I join you? Share a hotel, cab?"
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it.
So you came down to Lethbridge and then jumped in with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're truckers.
So you all farm and ranch?
I do. Yeah. Our family does. Yep.
She said that her son likes to watch my kind of YouTube stuff. So
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
I haven't said a swear word on it. 2 years of videos, not a single
there
swear
you go.
word.
Proud of you.
Super clean.
Proud of
So that mamas like
It's
this.
kid friendly.
It's kid friendly.
Kid friendly content today.
You would think I was just, she's the only one that's had to have something beeped out today. I never have to beep anything out. See? Yeah, yeah. I really do enjoy Canada. There's a couple times I've been there.
Come again.
You got a place to stay?
We'll come back. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm just going to give you a little virtual tour.
Gallery.
Gallery. Mobile.
I was like trying to think of a more
See,
glamorous.
the beautiful thing is I can go back and edit out all these ums and ahs. So I'm going to say, you guys, to end this, I'm going to give you a virtual tour of their mobile art gallery.
$45,000 and $45,000. That are now about 45,000. Got to be 45,000. He's all done. Anybody else got to be 45,000 and 42,500. 45,000. That are about 5. Sold it to you, sir, for $42,500. 42,500. 5,000 and 25,000. That are now 5. Would have been 27,500. 500 27,500. And now 30,000. That are now 30. Now 30. 30. Now 32,500. Now 32,500. 500 have been 32,500. 30,000. That are now 32,500. Would have been 5,500. Would have been 30,500. 2,500. 27,50. Now 3. And 3,000. That are now 3. Now 32,50. 32 and a half. Would have been 32,50. Westing at 32,50. 32 and a half. Already 32,50. Now 5. Now 5. And 35,500. 37,50, sir. 37 and a half. 7. Sold it, Weston. You better buys for $6,500. $6,500.
Started today off with an interesting event. It was a symposium. If you don't know what a symposium, if you don't know what a symposium is, it sounds fancy, doesn't it? In the case of this morning, it was a man named Tim Gordon. And I want to tell you a couple of these stories real quick, okay? Because they were wild. Okay. First story. There's a steamboat called the Arabian in the mid-1800s that's west of Kansas City. It's headed out to like upriver, up out west to bring trade goods to the people out on the frontier. And this thing hits a snag, hits some kind of something on the river, and the whole thing, I mean, it must have been catastrophic because the whole boat, the steamer sinks all the way down into the depths of the cold water and the muck within 60 seconds. Just and this thing sat there forever, and it was excavated up and brought out, and he was called in to appraise the things that were on this boat. And the things that were brought out were just all these random trade goods, tons of trade beads. There was like leather boots, like fancy knee-high leather boots, brand new. There was cognac. There was jars with pickles and different kinds of fruits and things in them that had been preserved that he's going through. One of the craziest things that he showed was rubber overboots. This is in the mid-1800s. They were made by, he said B.F. Goodyear. I don't know if he meant B.F. Goodrich or if way back in the day it was B.F. Goodyear. I'm not sure. But rubber overboots. And they had pictures of them. And they had called up some scientists to say, hey, we've got rubber from the mid-1800s. How do we preserve this? How do we take care of this? And they're like, well, that's not possible that you have rubber from this time. Rubber overboots. And the joke was the guys are like, well, I've got crates and crates of them, so it is possible. So anyway, he came in and had to appraise those things. So this other story, and this is just two of many of his that he had, but this one kind of stuck out as very interesting. Howard Hughes, who was a movie producer, like from 1930-ish, kind of up into the 50s, he was producing a movie out in the Nevada desert, and he wanted a home to live in while he was there. So they built this home, and he filled it full of things, produced the movie, and when the movie production was done and he left, he just sealed the house up as it was, as it sat, food in the cupboards, everything just as it was. Sealed it up, sealed it off. There it sat for years and years and years and years and years. And this home was eventually turned over to the state of Nevada. Well, the state of Nevada calls Tim Gordon and says, hey, can you come go through this home? You're going to unseal it and be the guy in to go through this stuff. And he said it was the most just amazing time capsule. I mean, you see things like this portrayed in movies here and there, but he got to live it and go through and appraise it. So it was neat.
75, 7,500, 8,000, 85, now 9, now 9, now 95, 9,500, now 10,000, now 10,000, get 10.
It's Troy right
10,
here.
10,000, 10.
Watching his art sell.
10,000, 95 up front, now 10, now 11, now 11, now 11, now 12, 11, 12, 12, give me 12,000, then 12, 12, 12, 13, 12, get 12 more time, now 13,000, 13,000, sir, 13,000, now 13,000, 13,000, and now 14, 14,000, now 14,000, 14,000, letter, 13, 14,000, 14,000, he said no without even finishing his drink. Now 16, now 16,000, 15, 16,000, 15 to 16,000. 16, 17, 17,000, no, 17,000, no, 17,000. Look,
Yeah! Yeah, very good.
16,000, now 20, you roll down to 20,000, now 20, 20, 20, 20, 19, 20, have 19,000, now 20,000, then 25, 550,000, and I'm on 575, 35, 30 bit, 575, and I sold it, $550,000, 550,000. 2,300,000, 2,300,000, 2,300,000. I'll give you plenty of time. 2,300,000, 2,300,000, 2,250,000, 2,300,000, 2,300,000 a bit. Sold it for $2,250,000, $2,250,000.
You hear about things and you see on TV and such things that sell in the millions like that. But to experience firsthand, it was cool to be there, but I was really surprised at how it was just like, all right, next thing. It was like, hold on, we just sold an item for $2.25 million. I feel like we should all just kind of look around for a minute, take in the moment. But that wasn't really the case. So anyway, pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed that. Last thing, you can't ever, as an auctioneer, be in a parking garage without, hey, but get there to be $2 million. Hey, but get there to be $2 million now. 1, 2, 1 down, get it in bid it in month, 2.1, but everybody get 2,100,000. Maybe some. That is a wrap on Western Art Week 2024 in Great Falls, Montana. I hope you learned some things. I learned some things. So if you were following along, I'm going to bet you did as well. Again, that was been right under my nose, as is with probably 99% of Montanans. I don't think they realize what is right here in the middle of our state in having all these artists come in from all around the West and showcase and display and educate. It was awesome. I am certainly going to add this to a new tradition of my life, to come and to see what was, I think for me, like if I go home and somebody asks, what did you take away from Western Art Week? I think for me, it's the realization that there's this whole group of younger artists that have picked up the ball, picked up the torch, and are carrying it forward. They're continuing to push out Western art in this, you know, modern way that's kind of true to our, you know, to our modern era. And I don't mean that they're doing like modern, you know, stuff like, oh wow, here's an old guy out there on his four-wheeler chasing cows. I don't mean it like that. I mean that simply they've brought a vivid new, just a new look, a new take on these old Western scenes. Really neat. You guys visit Great Falls, check it out, put this thing on your list if you ever find yourself needing to get out in the springtime in March, if you got the cabin fever. It's an easy place to fly into. It's an easy place to drive to. Check it out. I promise, speaking from experience, I promise you would never regret it.